looks like I have no fucking voice. Looks like I'm only about 5 minutes late. So I'm a little bit later than usual because I ordered in my dinner today, and the guy delivering my dinner took like 45 minutes to get here. So I literally shoved that all down my throat like an entire like burger and fries menu in like 6 minutes, maybe 7 minutes. So I'm going to have stomach cramps after this stream. Probably. But we'll figure that out when we get to it. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe I won't fucking die. So, we're going to be doing some more level designing today. Last time we left off some fucking place. I think... Let's go into unlit mode so I can see a little bit better. Yeah, so in this hallway is where we left off last time, right? We replaced the previous version of the hallway, which was literally just like a curve from here to there, with something that has a little bit more like twistiness to it, a little bit more intrigue, like you need to platform up here, then there will be a little bit of a challenge here, then you need to get your way back up to this, and your way down, and then you can go to here. And this way, this hallway also functions as a proper hallway both directions, because the initial version that we had really only functioned as like a proper level and a proper challenge in one way. That is going from this door to this door. But if you end up going through it the other way, which is entirely possible, not entirely what I want the player to do, but it is possible to like go through the entirety of the dungeon here in the other direction, end up in this like central hub area. Man, my throat is not happy with me shoving all that food down so quickly. Anyway, going through this door and then ending up here and then through that, like coming through here, right? That's entirely possible. That's kind of the point of the like level design or the world design or whatever you want to call it. To be able to have people go without path they want. So if I want to be able to offer up whatever path people want to walk through, I also then face the issue where, yeah, I need to make things work in whatever direction in a somewhat logical way. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. But first, I want to do something else, actually, because I had an idea. Right now, the triggering of the cutscene when you beat this guy is just a little bit jarring, I guess is the best word to put it. So I'm going to put in a little bit of like a stylistic thing that 100% is just the way that like boss fights and in Kingdom Hearts 1. Except it's a little bit different because I don't want to do like the actual same visual effect. But here we have like all this stuff. Event has happened. We set the sword hitbox. We remove from parent. And then we play this sequence, right? So before we play this sequence, I'm going to add a timeline. And this will be our slow-mo timeline. And we'll set this to play when that timeline is finished. We will... Do we already set the player input to being turned off anywhere here? I don't think we do. So before we play this timeline, actually, let's get the... well, we have the player character right here, actually, so might as well do it here. Disable inputs. Get player controller. And then at the very end, we'll re-enable the input. Just to be sure. So we will... Or we can just get player character from there. That's actually fine. let me take a quick sip of my drink. My God, that's weird. I haven't had a Coke in a while. There's a lot of sugar in that. Holy hell. And here we're going to then re-enable the input. We'll get back to that timeline in a moment. I just want to set this up before I forget. In other news, how's everybody doing today? Like, people are dripping in slowly but surely. Anyway, slow-mo timeline. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to make a track. Flow track. Let's make that like 2 seconds long. And then at the start of that, we're going to add a key at time 0 value 1. And then at the end, we're going to add a key at time 2 value, let's say 0.1, like 10%. And we just play that, and in the update we set global time dilation to the corresponding value, and then at the very end we set global time dilation to back to 1. And that should end up with us having a slow-mo that like ramps up over the course of 2 seconds, and then at the end of that it's going to trigger a cutscene. That hopefully will make the trigger of the cutscene seem a little bit less jarring than it has so far, because that's a thing that I've actually been quite bothered by. How loud is that? That's pretty good. The fact that when you finish this boss fight, it's really like jumpy going into the cutscene, and I've been thinking, how am I going to fix that? And I guess this is kind of the reason that Kingdom Hearts 1 does the same thing. What the fuck is this camera angle? I guess that's kind of like the reason that Kingdom Hearts 1 does the same thing, right? Because otherwise it might be a little bit jarring. Why can I not dash anymore? There we go. At least you can't just absolutely destroy him with just comboing, because he'll just ignore your damage. Okay, we need to do a couple more things. We do also need to have a visual effect. Like, just slowing it down, I don't think works. It needs to be faster as well, I think. So let's just do this over the course of 1 second instead. We also need to... Where the fuck is our reference to the boss character itself? Test Night 0, there we go. Why not just slowing it down work? I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, we disable input. And they were also going to get controller. Your character movement looks incredible. I'm glad, because it's mostly the updated animations at this point that I think make it look better. There's no actual custom movement going on. It's just the character movement components. Just set it to a slow time dilation and watch how long you want the slow to last. That could also work. That's a good idea to keep in mind. We need to get AI controller. Hold on. Brain components. I don't know why that's a separate component, but sure. I really should look into the brain component, because I have no idea what it actually does. Like, I know that you can stop logic with it, and that's about it. But we need to also have that happen. So it can like finish any animations that it's doing at that time, but it should otherwise stop its logic. I love using timelines. I got hundreds for each actor I got. That seems like maybe not optimal, but I get where you're coming from. They're really nice to work with. I still need to like figure out a good way to like incorporate them into like a C++ class. I'm not entirely sure. Like I think because when you make one, it creates a component, and you can just like open it through the components tab there. I don't exactly know because you can't just like drag them in like this anymore, right? So I don't know how that works. Would be nice if you can like make a timeline component in C++ and then. Though I suppose if you're making a timeline component in C++, you probably want to like put C++ stuff to them as well. I don't know how that works. It seems like one of those things that you're like, just do it in Blueprint. Don't worry about doing it in C++. Okay, so we have that now. I do want to have like a visual effect to go with it as well. I just don't know what. Right, so we can try to like get the post process volume. That's in the persistent level, right? This is going to be an issue. That's going to be an issue. I hate the fact that I hate the fact that you can't get things from the persistent level in streaming levels. I know why, because you can put streaming levels in other levels as well. So that's why, but it's still annoying. I guess we can just create a separate post process volume for this. So in the boss level, posts process volume, just put that there. Okay. We set that to being unbound. And frankly, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do with this. Let's just fuck around a little bit. Actually, let's see. If we create this reference, what kind of settings do we have? Can we set the blend weight for the entire thing as a whole? So if we set blend weight, we can just create the effect that we want to have and then blend into it, right? That's actually set blend weight should be set back to 0 at the end there. We also want to set the blend weight through a timeline, which is going to be, let's just make that a separate track, flow track, BP blend, and that's funny, BP blend. That will be 0, 0, and 1, 1. Hopefully it works as easily as that. I've never actually done this with like a timeline and setting post-processing stuff through code, but I assume that this will work, so we'll see. And then with this, okay, let's just see, like, let's just increase the bloom a lot, right? So if we just do this and we say, hey, bloom it all the fuck up, it doesn't actually do anything. Why not? I did set it to unbound, right? It's I guess the threshold just needs to be okay. So far this doesn't seem very promising. Is this thing just not why is this thing not doing anything? Yeah, it's literally just not doing anything. Why would that be? Oh, I didn't actually set it to unbound. Okay. It did do a thing there. Didn't do a lot, but it did do a thing. Okay, so then the threshold goes all the way back down. That's more bloomy, but I want the intensity to be even higher. Like, let's set it to fucking 15. No, that doesn't actually do anything. Let's... And then the general like contrast probably should go up with that. So that would be... we don't need a chromatic aberration. It's just for testing. Although... don't actually seem to be doing that much. Weird. I guess we can set the shutter speed for the camera. Why can't we set the shutter speed for the camera through this? Okay. Color grading, this is what I was looking for. Contrasts. Got to increase that as well, like a lot. Or just go back to this. Nah. Increase that a little bit extra. I do think that if we increase this to 25 now, just make it really fucking out there, right? I don't quite understand why the shutter speed thing is not working. Like, what setting is overriding that? I guess the fact that we have auto exposure might be overriding that, which makes sense, kinda. Today's focus is just a little bit of everything again. Mostly finishing up the level design or continuing with the level design that we were doing. But first I want to like play around a little bit with this boss fights like ending sequence. Because it going into a cutscene. Actually, I have a better idea. I do want them to like... so yeah, just landing that final hit and it immediately going into a cutscene is not great. In my opinion. Just feels a little weird. So I'm just trying to add a little bit of extra flair to things. To make that a little bit like smoother. Well, man, I must say that with the new combat improvements, this does feel a lot better. It also feels a lot easier. I might make it a little bit more difficult. I don't know how exactly I would do that. Oh, yeah, that is a bit of an issue, isn't it? So what happens here is either I didn't connect everything up properly. Yeah, okay, so what happens here is that the timeline is influenced by the time dilation. But I did like the way that that looked. So let's see if there is a solution for all that. That's my dashboard. There has to be, right? Unreal timeline, time dilation. How to make time dilation node work with the timeline. And that's kind of the issue. It seems to do that. So I'm trying to do a slow-mo for my game for 2 seconds using a timeline time dilation. As you can see accompanying the photos. Doesn't work as expected. What happens is the game slow down but never ramp back up to normal. As I believe I've done with the timeline. What am I doing wrong? Works for me. Will take longer than 2 seconds to play through a timeline because it's slower. Yeah. The time dilation node will affect another time-based nodes. So that's the kind of the thing I'm looking for. Yes, time dilation will affect all of your timers, and I'm pretty sure it affects event tick as well. I don't know about that. I highly doubt it. So for each timer, delay, whatever, you'll have to multiply by the amount of time dilation. Oof. So we need to speed this thing up, corresponding to how much the time dilation is lower than 1. Right? That's what we're getting at there. We can try to do that. Because we have a set play rate, and I hope that this works as the thing is playing as well. And if we take 1 divided by, like, make literal float real quick. If we have 1 divided by time dilation. Hold on, no, that. It's time dilation. Do we need to multiply something? If this is 1 and we divide that by the time dilation of 0.1, that's going... Yeah, dividing by something under 0 gets you a higher number. Now, this does work. So we... I guess we can just use the same output there. I think this fixes the issue. Just doing it simple like that. What are you setting up after killing the boss? So once we have this working, we're going to go back to finishing up, hopefully finishing up anyway, this little hallway that we made, right? So this is still pretty empty, and I want to take a look at that. And then we're just going to, I don't know, see where things take us next. Again, the whole concept here is just we're going to be playing through the game bit by bit. And whenever I run into something that I'm thinking, maybe let's change or improve that, we change or improve it. And the further we get in, I think the less we'll go have to change it around. But let's test out this solution for the timeline. Because in theory this should work. I really should make a save file where it doesn't play this introductory scene every single time, because it's already kind of getting annoying. Specifically because the camera angle on this is wrong. So maybe we should fix that as well. But then again, I need to like reanimate the ending cutscene from the ground up anyway. Great time to implement the skip button. I don't think I can. Like once it starts the cutscene, it relies on the cutscene finishing to execute some more code, I believe. But what it usually does okay, let's that seemed pretty good. I just need this to almost come to a stop, I think. And we need the interpolation for this to be not just linear. So if we just set both of these to user, they are both user now. We can make this like a little bit more of an exponential curve. And we might as well do the same here just to have it a little bit more like smooth. So because of how we have everything set up and he like once it starts playing that intro scene, it doesn't give control back to the character until the scene. And then again, I guess finish playing might also trigger when you interrupt a cutscene, but it's a quick little intro scene. And again, if you just play through the game yourself and you face this guy and you die and you go back in, it actually does skip this part of the scene. It just throws you into the boss itself straight away. So like for testing purposes, this is annoying now because I don't have that little thing flipped. Like that flag. But for actual gameplay purposes, this would never happen. Like if I were to just die here. Which is actually quite difficult. I think I just need to give him more damage. And don't mind the fact that this weight painting job is fucked up. So yeah, I'm trying to die here and I'm actually like taking quite a while, which is not a good thing. I mean, it is a tutorial boss, to be fair, but still. Still don't know what that ends up happening. But yeah, so now let's just save game. This one might actually just be what I was looking for, but hey. Now when I go through this, it'll just immediately start with the fight itself. So, what? Okay, there's a little bit of an issue with this AI when that happens, seemingly. Okay, we need to take a look into that as well, because that obviously is an issue. And you probably should be invincible during that attack as well. That's not the button I wanted to press. I might actually die again here because of that. No, I won't. But I might not win. Yeah, all this is just temporary, very bad. Yeah, we'll look into those issues a little later. I think I just want this one to be even more aggressive. Like, can it be? Yeah, don't go into the negative though. So I don't even know what I would do. I guess we can... If we break these tangents, we can, I think... Yeah, we can make this go steeper and then break this one. Which doesn't do anything. Why not? Because it's the last keyframe, is that why? Oh no, they're just not allowed to be longer because of... Okay. We can just make a new curve, that's fine. Just make a curve asset for that. Tutorial, I don't know if we should put it in here, but sure. Where is the curve asset? Probably in miscellaneous, right? Curve. It's composite data table. It's not what I wanted. The curve. The curve. Float curve. Time dilation. This way we can easily reuse it between different levels as well, so that's probably actually a good thing. AI always breaks even when it's not break. I know, man. I know. It's crazy. So that is 0 and 1. And then we'll make another key. And the other key will be at 1 and 1%. Can we like normalize this view now or anything? That would be ideal if we could. Normalized view. There we go. And in here we can say, hey, I want to toggle weight tangents. I can't do that. Probably because it's set to linear actually. That's probably why. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. We can do that. Can make this go like super steep now, right? And now it goes a little bit below 0. That's not what we want. So we take this one and we just pull this across and up a little bit. Let's see if that improves matters. So we can just use the time dilation curve. And that just shows you that curve. And that's pretty much like an instant slow-mo. So why do we even need a timeline at that point if we're going to be doing instant slow-mo? Because this is still a little bit smoother. Yeah, we'll try some instant slow-mo in a moment as well, because that might just be easier. Fuck! Wrong save file. It's not that big a deal. We do need to look into the other one as well. I don't know what's happening there. Man, that hit me. What the fuck? That's highly not okay. Okay, I think this might be going a little bit too far. I think we're going to go back to the 10%. And I do want the like motion blur thing from Kingdom Hearts as well, actually. If we just set the motion blur, the blending. Does this show motion blur as well? I don't know that it will. Oh, because motion blur is just entirely off, isn't it? In the project settings. Yeah, motion blur is just entirely off. So this is now going to be like very motion blurry. No, it's not. Why is it not? See, I don't like having motion blur in the game in general because it looks weird. This definitely doesn't seem very motion blurry though. But I guess the motion blur is more when the camera moves. Oh man, I hate the way this looks. Let's go back. So that's definitely not the way to do it. I was hoping that we could maybe get a easy way to create like a cool effect there. Yeah, I don't like the way motion blur makes things look personally. If you're trying to make a super like high realism game, it makes a lot more sense. Because at that point you're actually trying to like mimic a physical camera and that would have motion blur. But for like the stuff I want to make, which is a bit more stylized anyway, having those crisper, cleaner visuals is way better. Maybe we can do something with like a vignette or something. Oh, that's mobile depth of field. I don't care about that. Maybe we do need this to also just ramp up through the entire thing. Maybe we add in some fucking lens flares? I don't know. Not enough light for lens flaring. Okay, never mind. You can set the global illumination on a per post-processing volume basis? The fuck? Let's keep it on lumen. No idea about that. Yeah, I'm just looking through to see if there's anything that I'm like, oh, we can use that. Aside from like making a specific post-process material that would do this. Because that would be a little bit too much talking about for what I want to do right now. Guess we can try to like increase some like. I don't know why half of this stuff doesn't seem to do anything. That's like the issue. If we put this to 10, does it become? Yeah, no. I don't know. I'm probably overriding that somewhere else. Oh, maybe it's the priority setting, so I don't know. Yeah, we might just need to make a material that does some interesting stuff for this. I could have sworn there was a thing for like adding a vignette as well. But that's going to probably be a little jarring as well when it cuts away. I can't set the camera settings anyway. Is it because, I just want to know, is it because I have auto exposure? No. I do think that auto exposure is the way to go. So why can't I update any like camera settings? through any of this. Is it because of that? No. Does ambient occlusion on post-processing just put a huge blanket of color, or does it target convex spaces? In here, I assume that it uses the ambient occlusion maps from the materials themselves. Maybe it has like a screen white ambient occlusion as well. I'm not entirely sure, actually. That's a good question. There's one very easy way to figure that out, though. Post-processing boss effects, let's just call it that. Eventually we'll probably need to make something with this anyway. I just don't know what I want it to look like at the moment. Like we have the, I don't know what it's called anymore. It's been a while since I've done this. Material domain is going to be post-process. Is it just scene texture? I think it's just scene texture, and then we... Yeah, I think this has like a ambient occlusion as well. Yeah, so this uses the materials ambient occlusion. So if we put that into the emissive, and we put this into the world. A boss, what do we call it? Boss effect. Everything will just be fucking white because I think almost none of my objects have ambient occlusion in their materials. Like I might have like one or two somewhere. But I think that's why everything is white here. And again, I think this guy's supposed to have ambient occlusion. Yeah, he is. Oh, but we have all that other stuff, don't we? So if we just go back into like the bloom here, maybe that's not doing it either. Okay. I don't know. Oh, but this could, oh, that could be kind of a neat effect, right? If we do the world normal for everything. We could do something funny with that. We could do something funny with that. We probably want to do something where we like almost do sort of cell shading with that or something. I'm not entirely sure. Velocity? Hold on. Velocity, that could be... Ah. Hold on. Could we do something with that? Because if we have a velocity, and I don't really care what direction it is going in, I don't think. We just need to have a Like we can just desaturate this. One of these. Is this the same fucking node? I thought there's one I just gave a black and white output, right? That's the idea anyway. Yeah, so now we just have how far something is moving on screen. Like multiply that by a factor of like 15. I'm just fucking about at this point. We were supposed to be doing something entirely different. Now it's a lot more sensitive. The thing is, if we want to like fake motion blur or something like that, what we need to do is we need to be able to save the previous X amounts of frames and like blend that together. And I don't think we can easily do that. Like not with a post-processing effect anyway. We probably need to go a step back into the render pipeline and say to not update certain pixels. Unreal post-processing motion blur effect. Let's see if anybody else has come up with a good one. Motion blur post-processing. Yeah, they're just using the normal post-processing or the normal motion blur from Unreal Engine itself. This guy actually has it. Oh, that could be kind of neat. Hold on, let's try to replicate this. So we have the UVs for this, the input. I'm just going to steal this. You people always steal my code as well. Just shut up. If we put that into a radial... radial blur, but radial blur doesn't... Oh, radial blur is a thing that he just wrote. Okay, we're not going to write that entire thing. Doesn't seem that much, but we still have some blurring options here, right? So if we just go for blur, might not be able to do that. Okay, so this will multiplies an input offset by the number to the vector. So if we put in... I don't know what this does. But I guess we can try to see what this does. I suppose what we actually want to do is we want to put this in, maybe? Oh, that's fucking trippy. That's not exactly what I wanted to do. Oh, that's because this takes an effect. Okay, so hold on. What we actually want to do then is we want to do it like this, right? Let's just put this in there real quick. I don't know what this does. Multiplies an input offset by the number. I guess we want to do this. Why is it black? Because if we just disconnect this. Oh, because that's velocity. Oh, this should just be post-processing input 0, which doesn't fucking... What? Oh, everything is fucked. What the hell? Okay, that certainly does something. Let's... Yeah, so maybe not that. So now everything is just fucking offset by half. So what if we take this, right? We first multiply it by the velocity to get like and then desaturated and multiply and stuff. To effectively get like a area of effect map. Which then goes into there, and then we... Holy fucking hell, that's not what I thought it was gonna do. Yeah, okay, so maybe not. Maybe don't do that. But that does give me an idea. Because now we have the UV... Let's just set this back to 1 real quick. And if we just multiply the screen position UVs by this, we probably need to make this a lot... Ooh, no. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. But let's make this like 0.1 instead. I don't even know what the hell is going on here. Oh, that's specular. No, I don't want specular. I want velocity. That's probably why it's fucking up. Yeah, no, I don't think this is doing what I want it to be doing, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think we're just going to give up on this idea right now because I'm just fucking around and not actually doing anything. So let's get rid of this material, or at least put it back to 0, and just keep it at this for now. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be something... It's the wrong save file. It just has to be something a little bit smoother than what we had, right? Anyway, I'm back to reading chat now, which is... Oh, this is fucking... Let's not do that. Blend weight by default is going to be 0. You know, for testing purposes, this is actually quite nice, because it just lets me fucking destroy him. That first attack seems to be missing him quite a lot, though, so that's not ideal. Curious how you got it to combat like the enemy AI. This enemy's AI is actually relatively simple now. So I can go over that real quick. I've got a behavior tree for him. Like this is, well, this is the old system. Let's remove this. This is everything there is to it. So what it does is, like, it updates the distance to the player, because that's information that it needs to have. And then it has a whole bunch of stuff for updating the boss info, which it also does like twice a second roughly. And that just corresponds to a bunch of keys. So we've got boss health. We've got a timer that ticks up for how long it stays aggressive. Then we have a state timer that ticks it back to being passive. How long does it take in either one of those states? Oh, that's this one. And then we have a state timer that actually like ticks up. So this timer is going to tick up and compare itself to either this or this value, depending on what state it is in. And then we have a phase counter. And that's just an integer that counts up in what phase it is, corresponding to like these thresholds. So at health 100%, it's going to be in phase 1. It's state timer duration, which is a weird way to phrase that, but its aggressive timer duration, that should say, is 20 seconds. Its passive duration will be 8 seconds, and its phase counter will be phase 1. Then when we get to under 70%, it will be aggressive for 25 seconds at a time, and passive for 6 seconds at a time. And then at 30% or under, it will be aggressive for 30 seconds and passive for 5 seconds. So this way I can very easily add like increasingly aggressive behavior as the fight progresses and nears its conclusion and nears its end. And then this side of the tree that's like in the red comments here is his combat state, so when he's aggressive, and this is his passive state. His passive state is pretty easy. It just stops moving, it plays an animation, it waits for the amount of time on the blackboard, so it just waits for however long the passive state will take in its like current phase. Then it plays a montage to stand back up, then it waits for another second, and then it switches the boss state to being aggressive. At which point it will come back through here, see, hey, I'm aggressive now. And it will do this. So if it does it from like high to low priority. So it first tries to see, hey, is the distance to the player less than 350? If not, it's going to be just moving toward the player. If it is, it checks, hey, is my percentage health below 70%? If so, it's going to do one of these attacks, which includes its heavy attack. If it is not, it will do one of these attacks, which just does not include that heavy attack. So it only starts doing that once it is a little bit damaged. And then there's also, if it is not within 350 units, before it will start moving to the player, it will actually check, hey, is my HP below 70%, and the distance to the player greater than 1,000 units. And my tag cooldown for my ultimate attack is not on cooldown at the moment. It'll just do its ultimate attack, which is a specific ability for that. And if it is within 1,000 units or its cooldown is, well, on cooldown, it will just manually move to the player. Do you have an attack animation where he basically launches to the player? I'm working on enemy AI and I don't know how to make him fucking YouTube is blocking your message partly. Hold on, there we go. Reposition towards the charge direction, basically. Kind of. He doesn't change his position. The player does when he attacks, the enemies don't. Because that will make them a little bit too difficult to dodge. What he does is in the pretty much 90% of my attacks in the game for enemies are just the same. So it's just sets the actor rotation. It does do that. So we get a find look at rotation, and we only use the yaw input from that because we don't want it to like roll and pitch around. We only want it to be around its own like up axis, its own z axis. And we just find the look at rotation between the boss or the enemy character itself and then the player character, and then we use that to set the new actor rotation, and then we play the animation. And from there, once it is rotated, you can just use the actor's forward direction, because you will already have rotated it toward the direction that it needs to be going in. For the player, it does actually like do some root motion toward the enemy that it's targeting. So you'll notice that when I do an attack, it actually does move toward the thing, just to make it feel a little bit more satisfying and a little less frustrating when you just like miss things. It might be a little too like Batman-y at the moment. Where like, you know, the Batman games, like the Arkham games, where if you press the attack button and there is an enemy anywhere like in the same city block as you, you just fucking teleport over to them. It might be a bit too much of that at the moment. But it's a difficult balance that I keep like overdoing in one direction and then the other, and at some point I'll surely land on something that works well enough without overdoing it in either being too restrictive or too powerful. What is the game about? Beating stuff up, or well, more slicing things up, I suppose. For now, I think we have a pretty good thing going. I'm going to try one more thing, and then we're actually going to go over to that other thing, doing the actual level stuff. So we're going to not update the global time dilation anymore in the thing itself. That might make it feel a little bit more impactful if it just cuts through, like the suggestion was earlier in the stream. So if we just set global time dilation immediately to like fucking 5%. And now we real quick just copy years over, because you know what, let's just make this a literal float as well, so we can hook it up to both at the same time. This might make it a little bit more impactful. Let's see. What the fuck is the issue? Oh, that does need the timeline reference. It's kind of a Souls-like, but not really. It takes a lot of things from Souls-like. It's more of a hack and slash than a Souls-like. Like, everything that's action combat is very easily categorized as Souls-like, and there is definitely like Souls-like mechanics that I'm taking, because when you die, you drop your experience and you need to go get it back again, and if you die and you wait there, it disappears. That's a very Soulsy mechanic. Oh yeah, that is... Okay, whoever came up with the idea of just make it instantly switch over to the slow-mo without using the timeline, it actually does work a lot better. So that was a fantastic idea, and I wasted a lot of time not doing that. Now that we have that going on, let's just make this longer as well. And like my combat is a lot more like fast-paced and just like button mashy than your average Souls game would be. And that's by design. I think that does improve things. I think that does improve things. Maybe... Let's go back to 3 seconds for this one instead. I'm at this point just fine-tuning this stuff. Which I probably shouldn't be. That's it. We got it, I think. At least for now. I don't have patience for non-button mashing, if I'm honest. Yeah, kind of the same here. I kind of like Dark Souls, but I also like don't have either the patience or just straight up not the time to deal with Dark Souls games at this point in my life. Or any Souls-like, almost. Like, people might disagree with what I'm about to say, but one of the only real things that my game does Souls-like, Soulsy, let's call it Soulsy because it sounds funny, is the experience mechanic. And if that makes my game a Souls-like, then Hollow Knight is also a Souls-like. And I don't know about that, personally. Like, you could make arguments for it, but I don't think Hollow Knight is a Souls. Like, Hollow Knight takes a lot more like Metroidvania with some like... I don't even know if the boss fights in Hollow Knight are very Soulsy, to be honest with you. Maybe they are. I never really experienced them as being such. And one of the things that I had in mind when starting this project is kind of a middle ground between a 3D Hollow Knight and Kingdom Hearts. Leaning a little bit more towards the 3D Hollow Knight. Which, I mean, fucking look at where we're at. Like, I'm in a tomb and I'm literally platforming over a, like, stack of skulls. That's a bit more Hollow Knight than it is Kingdom Hearts, I feel. Anyway, let's... I guess we just put a couple of enemies down here, but let's maybe first block some things out. That seems like maybe a reasonable thing to do. So we put some more blocks in here. We can do one like over here. Will this be enough for jumping back up? It's kind of difficult to judge scale sometimes, you know? We can just copy this over and make it go there. I wish there was a non-destructive modeling workflow in Unreal that would just like bake things on packaging. Because it would be really nice if I could just have a mirror modifier on this thing that I didn't have to bake when I decided, okay, this is it. Just having it always be there, non-destructive, would be very, very nice. But that's not quite how that works. Dungeon crawls are very different from RPGs altogether. That's true. Kind of dipping into the genre from my very minimal observation. I don't know. I would say that dungeon crawling is a subgenre of RPG. Like, RPG is, to me, anything with level up mechanics is an RPG. And that's not even, like, the actual meaning of what an RPG is, because RPG is a role-playing game, of course, so that could be even wider than anything with level up mechanics. At this point, when you say RPG, you mean D&D mechanics in a video game. That's what RPG means for most people, I feel. So for me, like, anything with level up mechanics is classified as an RPG. Okay, yeah, you can make these jumps back up without too much trouble. That's good. And then you have a bunch of different like subgenres of that, right? Like you've got side-scrolling RPGs, and you've got turn-based RPGs, you've got action RPGs, real-time RPGs, you've got tactical RPGs like Fire Emblem. You've got Pokemon, which doesn't still really have a genre name, like Monster Collection RPG, I guess. Most people just call it Pokemon clones, so, which is fair. Because very few games actually pull off that gameplay style with any sort of success at all. Let's see. We want to have like just put in a couple enemies in here. That's really all that we need, right? And maybe we like put in a wall here so that you actually do have to walk across and past some enemies. That seems like a good idea. Yeah, that's not going to do anything. Technically, nav meshes and these brushes, you should update them with the brush size. I don't really give a shit. I'll just scale them up. That's fine. I consider all games RPGs by default. I think I'd only say Solitaire is a one-way level up system in it. To a certain extent, I guess you have a good point there. Yeah. I don't know if all games, but like, going by the definition of an RPG being a role-playing game, which again is the literal meaning of RPG. I guess pretty much every game has an element of like escapism in it almost, which would classify it as role-playing because you're trying to like transpose your own life onto it to make it a little bit less boring or less shit. Something like that, right? So in certain ways, I suppose every game would be an RPG under that definition. That's actually a pretty like interesting way of looking at it. I was gonna give the example of like Stardew Valley has some level up mechanics, but I wouldn't call it an RPG. But it definitely is like more RPG than the Harvest Moon games that it is based on. I would say. I don't know if that's like a very hot take or anything. Anyway, let's put in some just some ghosts here. We'll do just like 2 on this side to welcome you, and then 2 on this side to fuck your day up. But then you've got like a lot of like RPs games almost. Where thinking about things like the Stanley Parable, or What Remains of Edith Finch, or like we call them walking simulators for the most part. Those kind of games, right? And those, like, almost by definition, like don't really have any game mechanics. But in a lot of ways, still want you to like identify with the character that you're playing. Like at that point, are you still role playing? Is that still a role playing game? Because if we're gonna go by a very strict definition of what like role playing is, probably it should be a fucking hell. Probably it should be, but I don't think that that is what most people understand when you say role playing game. Again, I think that when we talk about RPGs in general these days, what most people actually mean is a digital version of a tabletop RPG, like D&D. Like pretty much every modern RPG that you play, video games, has its roots in Dungeons and Dragons. Like the whole The whole fact that we call things HP and MP, and I believe stamina as well, that's terminology that comes from D&D. So I feel that like that is the more widely understood meaning of RPG in gaming. But definitions shift like one way or the other. Yeah, so you can definitely just kind of run by these, can't you? I want to make it so that it's a little bit less, hey, I just want to run past you. Like, of course, if you want to run past these guys, you're going to be running past these guys. But I wanted to be a little bit more to it than that. So maybe we can like pull this back a little bit more. Yeah, and aside from definition shifting, Steam tags are just kind of fucked to begin with, right? I don't know how it is these days, but I remember, at least back in the day, they were like a real mess. Holy fuck, that's definitely like not what I want to have there. It's probably still quite tall, isn't it? Yes. Make it wider. Make it go down, 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 down. Oh, no, don't rotate it. At least do something like this with it, where we then might as well just like accept and then blue group edits. That's definitely not centered, not even a little bit. We'll look into that in a moment. Move this over a little bit. Actually, can we just... I have a better idea. Let's insert a edge loop. Just insert an edge loop here. Roughly like here. And there. And then we can just make this one extrude out, right? At least creates a little bit of a staircase. Maybe it's a little too narrow. I don't know. It's not centered though, that's the bigger issue. But centered is a little bit more at least. And now you have to jump over a thing to escape those enemies, which at least gives it a little bit more like dynamic gameplay to it, I think. Still mostly officer. I kind of figure, yeah. And I do think putting in one of those shamans over there as well is probably a good thing. Because that's an enemy that you simply just sometimes cannot run away from. Because it does ranged attacks, first and foremost. And like attacks that stick with you. Okay, that's definitely... Let's pull this up a little bit more. And then, what are we going to do with this? I guess we can go back into, not brush editing mode. What the hell is wrong with you? Guess we can try to move this. Let's just make it something to jump over. Like this one can just be a little bit like of a wall that's sticking out. Why is that there? From like a lore perspective, from like a world building perspective? Because it's a game. That's why. There's no other reasons. No other reasons needed. I really should take care of some of those logs that it does every single time I go through a door, because I don't need those anymore. Those have been in the game for literally a year, I think, when I was debugging the door stuff. Because that's fun. Well, I don't know if it's fun. I hope that it will be, but that's what we're going to be checking right now. Fuck! That's what we're going to be checking right now. So yeah, the idea would be that you at least have to do something like this, and then... does this add enough gameplay intrigue to excuse the fact that it is really awkwardly placed just for gameplay purposes, as well as the fact that you can still just dash over it? Oh, fuck. Okay. Maybe don't stand in a pit of enemies. Okay, so what are we going to change about this to make this work? I don't want to force you to fight these enemies every time you come through here. Or just forcibly, even a first time through, like not allow you to go through until like, either those two or those two are dead. Because that seems highly annoying to deal with. But what we could do is something a tiny bit more dynamic. So let's delete this. Copy this over. Pretend like I can center things properly. And I think we have like a laser. What the fuck did I even call that blueprint? Let's go find another one somewhere in another level. Because I have this thing. I think it's... Don't crash. Do not crash. Why are you being so sluggish? I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. I need a better fucking GPU to work on this game, man. I don't know what the last point is where we saved. Well, we're also dropping frames there because my GPU is getting overloaded. That makes sense. Okay, so the only thing that seems to have lost any progress is the hallway level. I'm working on getting a new GPU. Just GPUs are fucking expensive. But once I do, these random crashes should at least not be as big a deal. To be fair, I probably could just only enable the one level that I'm working on at a time, right? So I could just say, hey, all this, go fuck itself, and then we turn off all these individual levels that I'm not working on anyway. And that will save me a lot of VRAM. So we have 1-3 hallway, and then I think I had like... I think it's called like stair step or something like that. 1-4 stair step. Oh, that's actually the level that that immediately goes into, so that's nice. Even the GPU that I have right now is like a RTX 2060, and at the time that I bought this was like 400 euros or something like that, I think. And that's like the lowest tier decent GPU of that generation. Okay, so what is this called? It's called Electric Bar. Okay, I guess. So what if we do something like this instead, right? I think this has, yeah, this has a little like number for distance, which is fucking fantastic. We start it up here, we make it fucking purple as hell. And we then also copy it over. Actually, this one can be snapped to 90 degrees interval without too much trouble. These two should also not be in the persistent world. Hold on. Before I forget. There's just random actors throughout my entire game that exist in the persistent world for no good reason. So yeah, we put this one in, and then we make this one just a little bit taller. And then while we're at it, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go into the blueprint. In the construction script, I'm going to set the static mesh. Where the fuck is this? All the way over there. Oh, it's for a thumbnail that I made, actually. We're going to just set the static mesh for both of those components. And we're going to set that to promote a variable and cap meshes or something like that. But your default value can just be a sphere, that's fine. I think it's like this one that we were using before. Might be a different one. These are a little bit bigger, actually. We had a different sphere that worked. Is it just control rig sphere? I think that's the one we were using before. Yeah. And then we'll also make a thing for the mesh scale, because I'm going to put in a mesh here that's really fucking tiny. So we can, for both of these, also set scale. That can be relative scale. For which the default value obviously will be 1 and not 0. But the idea being that we can set these up to use these skulls. So now we just need to rotate these so that they kind of make sense in the local space. What the fuck? What the hell happened? What the? Why does that make it disappear? Oh, because it... What the? Why does this rotate around that? Why is this? What? Um... Ah. Oh, it's because of what happens in the construction script here. Hold on. Because we add the local offset distance divided by 2 to the delta x location. Oh, hold on, that is for the box. So we have static mesh. 1 gets distance delta location x. Oh, but that's in its local space, right? So yeah. Can we add world? No, but that doesn't work either if I scale them up, does it? Well, then just don't fucking scale them up. Issue solved. Or we can just get this distance and multiply it by get world scale. For like the default scene route, I suppose. Fucking... Single precision is good enough. Does this fix it? Okay, so that seems to fix it. Does it fix it in the world? Not even a little bit. Oh, no, it does need to be local because of that. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. Um, okay, let's think this through. Would this work the same way in the editor? In the editor, I can just, okay, we'll just do that. Sure, you know, if that works, that fucking works. That's fine with me. All right, so now then we have my levels, purple, level sequences, cinematics, level sequence 1, 3, horizontal, laser. I go back and forth between spelling laser with a Z and a S, and I don't know why. And then we have 1, 3, vertical laser. And both of these are gonna autoplay and loop infinitely. It does update both of them at once, right? Yes, it does. Then we'll open the vertical laser. Get this actor the fuck in there. Add a transform track. Add a keyframe. And we'll make it last like 90 frames is about 3 seconds. Let's go with that. So there's about 1.5 seconds to go. That might be a little quick, to be honest. We'll have to see. To the other side. Let's just play it back, actually, because we can simply just do that. Does that feel too fast? That feels a little too fast, doesn't it? Let's go for 60 and 120 instead. That feels a little bit more reasonable. Okay. And then this other one, and this is the important part, that is the vertical one still. Then the other one that we have, the horizontal one, needs to be on a cycle that doesn't... Wait, what? Are they both? They're both vertical laser. That's not exactly what I wanted. Wait, what? They do have a horizontal laser, right? I just didn't make a second one. Sure. Horizontal laser. Let's put that in there as well. And can we remove that? Auto apply loop infinitely. Okay, so this one needs to be on a cycle that is not 120 frames. And doesn't easily go into 120 frames too much. So, not on 60. Maybe on 90, but I'm thinking something like 70 frames. Right, so we can put in... I think we can put both of these into another sequence together and preview both of them together. Right? So let's look into that in a moment. Or we can just look at it in the gameplay. That's more than fine. What are we doing again? Transform. There we go. So 75 into 120. Like, where do those overlap? 75 could go into like 150. 225. 290. 365. Then like 430. That still doesn't line up with 120. So these don't overlap too much, is what I'm getting at. The issue is that 75 frames doesn't have an exact middle. 70 would be 35, and 37, I guess, would be kind of the middle. But not really. But it'll be good enough. And this one only needs to go up and down a little bit. Because we simply can't jump over much higher than that anyway, right? So with both of those things combined, if we load game, we go to Central Hub. We'll have an actually dynamic thing going on. I'll put in a nav match blocker so that the enemies don't end up there. Because that might be kind of an issue. As well as the fact that the collision for those guys happens before they actually spawn. I don't know if that's a big issue. Those ghosts also should just be a bit smaller. But now that I've fixed the relativity issue of the particle systems, I think I can just make them smaller again. So let's do that in a moment. But that is a little intimidating to walk up on already, right? So it's actually not that difficult to get up. It at least requires some attention and brain power without being too difficult, I would say. So that's good. For now, let's stick with that, and then we're going to put in a couple of ghosts again. So ghosts. one goes there. Let's make this one start as active before we duplicate it over. And I think the idea of putting in one shaman is actually a pretty good idea. Look at how tiny the shaman is, man. And we can put that... Actually, what if we... I have an idea. We're going to put the shaman on his own little platform. And here's the wonderful thing about how I set this up, because I can just make this thing shorter and it still will just easily animate up and down. I just got to figure out what the top height is of that thing so that it lines up a little bit better. But we'll worry about that in a second. Modeling mode. Let's add in a box. So that's how we do things around here. We have a box. Actually, the pivot location can be... Oh, it is already on the base, so that's good. That's where I wanted it to be. And make that a fair bit larger. Where the fuck? Oh, that's... Oh, that's the base. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, hold on. I think they come up to right about there, right? So if we just do this a little something like that. And the wonderful thing here is that this shaman is effectively out of your range, I think. Well, if you lock onto it, you probably can hit it. Now that I think about it. But it'll be a much bigger problem for the player than the player is for it, right? So I think that's a good thing. Let's put down a navmesh modifier volume. Well, this is going to be a fucking... Oh, we first need to put down a new navmesh to begin with. Let's just scale this up. When you rotate these nav meshes, they start doing weird shit, man. I guess we might as well give this thing a little bit of navigation too, like the tiny bit of island that it can move around on. Maybe it'll get a little bit more this way. Nope. Well, that's what you get. What even is this thing? It's a navmesh modifier for... Oh. What is this? Also a navmesh modifier for him. Why do I have two of these? Oh, fuck off. So this is just to keep these things from going from one side to the other and passing through the laser bits. And then technically speaking, I guess what I actually should do is make this one stop here. So that it doesn't go through that block and that enemy as well. Oh, and that enemy should start as active. I really should just go into C++ and make that the default value, because it ends up being the case way more often than when I have to put them into like spawners or stuff like that, but let's see what that feels like. Because at this point, you'll have something just sitting up there, lobbing range attacks at you. And the wonderful thing is actually, you're not going to be auto-locking onto it at all anyway. Because you have those other ghosts near you, which are going to take your default, like, focus. So you need to take care of those, or, like, hard lock onto them. Yeah, okay, so we now have, like, this curse thing going on, right? Oh, and I can't actually jump out yet. That's fantastic. I think there's enough going on here now to make this somewhat interesting. So now it'll do one of these attacks, which makes you run away from it, and it'll immediately adds in one of those again. Yeah, okay. I actually think that's pretty good. So let's put in back to modeling mode. Just gonna put down this box. Something like this, maybe? That seems pretty good. And then just... I wish we could search through this as well. Sometimes I just want to do something and not know where it is. I assume that mirror is going to be in here, but it might be in model? Yeah, mirror is in model. You see, that's kind of weird. Yeah, that'll do for me. So both of these need the same collision settings to custom, and then grab ledge block. We're making some progress. We are making some good progress. We need to make the ghosts smaller again, though. Because, again, they are way too fucking large. Ah, I didn't make a jump. Okay, so this jump back up is literally not an issue. Oh, that thing doesn't damage me yet. Huh. And this doesn't have anything going on for it, like, at all. I feel like we could do with something that's a little bit more aggressive in here as well. And again, if we just like jump up here, we can just do that as well. But that at least makes you think about doing that instead of just being able to go through. Oh, we also have the proximity-based combat. There we go. It's going through. What the hell is going on with these degenerate triangles, though? I don't know what's up with any of that. Wait, can you just dash? You can just dash through these. I'm an idiot. I never considered that before. You can just dash fucking through these. Because you have invincibility frames through these things. And matter of fact, you can dash through the geometry itself as well. Hold on, can I dash through walls? No, okay. I was a little worried there for a moment. Yeah, we're just gonna kind of assume that that's not a big deal. I guess these things could ignore iframes and like knock you out of your invincibility if you hit them. But I really don't think we need to look too deep into that. Also, actually, this does need to be a little bit higher. Apparently. Which will make it more difficult to just jump up and knock them off. So I think that's probably a good thing. If anybody is watching this and hasn't seen my most recent community post on the channel, by the way, do go ahead and check it out. Because what I'm going to be doing is I want to see what you guys have been working on, like your projects, your games. And I want to play through some of them for a video. So a video will be something like, I played your games and absolutely tore them to shreds. It's not going to be negative, but I do want to be like impressed and maybe give a little bit of like an opinion on them. I don't even necessarily want to say critique them, because I don't know that my opinion on things isn't necessarily more valuable to the point where I can critique things sometimes. But I think that that would be a fun little video. And I've already had a handful of people submit their games, and some really good looking stuff in there. So if you are interested in that, let's just put this at like back at like 0.6 scale. I don't know if this scale for that works that way. Let's see if it does. If you are interested in like submitting your game for that, I'm probably not going to get through all of them already, because there's already like 6 or 7 before I started streaming. But if this is something that like, enough people submit their games for, and the video itself is received well, which I can only imagine that the video itself will be received rather well. Yeah, this feels a lot more appropriate for, yeah, and then that still would. Ooh, but those... yeah, those particles that it emits don't seem to be scaling very well with, like, world space related stuff. So I don't know what that's about. Anyhow, I will probably be doing that sort of video more often as well, because that seems like a fun little thing to do. Why am I even playing with mouse and keyboard? I physically went out to a store to buy a PS5 controller because I wanted to be able to like test play my game in a way that it will probably be experienced by most people, which is with a controller. And personally, I'm like a PlayStation boy, so I want a PlayStation controller. And now I'm not using it because I'm an idiot. Can I? I can't just make it up there. That's a little annoying. I want to update the look of the XP orbs at some point as well, but I want to update the look of so many individual things. It's kind of insane. I'm thinking, now that they are smaller, that's the reason that I'm playing through this, by the way, again. Maybe adding in like a third of these ghosts in these little areas here might not be altogether like a bad idea. And it still doesn't damage me, those things. I really should look into that, because I think the curse ability damages me. Oh no, those do damage me, just inconsistently. And those also don't damage me when they close in. So there's something weird going on there. I think they might be disabling their collision. when they start that move in, I don't know. Let's check. Oh no, that doesn't. Why is it so inconsistent in damaging me? Also, when I die with this, it doesn't work. But that's a save related issue. That's not that big a deal. I don't know why it's so inconsistent damaging me with those specific attacks. Let's gameplay ability Shaman Spirits. So yeah, this probably works a little weird because of how I set it up. Yeah, spawn runes. So we probably in his animation graph, or his event graph rather, we probably have the animation artifact destroy, ball attack, set curse, spawn runes. Run spawn runes on the thing here, and that does a spawn BP runes. Okay, let's look at that. We just set actor location. The reason that we're doing it like this is because we don't want to also inherit the rotation from it. And then we begin get player character. We set the collision for these things to disabled. But we also want to set these to disabled. So we can simply generate overlap events for all these boxes. Can be false. And then between 3 and 5 seconds, and let's set attack to true. And when attack is true, it like plays an animation or something, I guess. I don't really know how this. Yeah, this doesn't need to be enabled, I don't think. It just needs to then enable all these. Set generate overlap event to true. We just do that like 6 times. You know what? I'll make this into an array. Just because it's a little less messy. Oh, that's right. That makes sense. With a for each loop. Set generate overlap events to true on all of them. BP NM runes is not compiling now because enable collision. What the fuck? Oh, but we don't need to do that anymore. So I guess this. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. We'll do it that way. Um, Enable collision. That way it does it through the animation notify instead. Where does it use the attack ball though? I guess it does that in the state machine. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So that then triggers that triggers the animation, which triggers this. Which allows for like all this to happen. Okay. That was a little bit of a mental exercise. Let's see if it works. I might have just broken things horribly. Or I might have improved them. Who knows? Not the attack that I wanted, but we can also... Can we please just not? Can we please just not attack me with your guys? I just want to be attacked by that. That's good. Now curse me again. Pretty please. Not what I wanted, but... Okay, so these do damage me now? Okay, so what I wanted to see is do these... Okay, so if I'm doing an attack... if I'm doing an attack, it doesn't register them as being... a valid hit. Because I have iframes during my attack. Why can't I see live? I don't know. You should be. I am doing all this stuff live anyway. So it's got something to do with this, because here it checks the iframe for this guy first, right? Somewhere. Surely. Maybe? Wait, what? Set player knockback. Knockback ability, but before that even we... Oh. So yeah, this entire ability is not able to trigger if I am in an attack. And I'm guessing the... enemy to damage, to player damage also must not have tags damage invincible. Okay. We can solve that. Knock back ability. We just make a knockback ability and a damage event that ignore those. So knockback player, ignore iframes, Actually, let's not copy that over. Let's instead make a child of that. Ignore iframes. And here we just... Yeah, we just say we don't block on invincible. And we do the same thing with the player damage. So we can make a child class out of that, which I don't think we need to do for a gameplay effect, but anyway, ignore iframes. Yeah, aside from that, this is literally the exact same, and I don't think that this is going to update with the other one, but who knows. Shaman Curse. So specifically for this one, we want to like ignore iframes for both of those. So that you have to be a little bit more mindful of what you're doing when you have those cursed things around you. You don't want to just be spamming attacks to be able to get through that. You want to be mindful, a little bit more defensive as long as those things are around you, so that you have to dodge through them. Oh, but that is not going to allow me to now dash through them as well, right? That's going to be an issue. Yeah, so that did still damage me. Fuck. Do we have a dash? Player movement combat dash? We probably should rename those from ignore iframes to something else. Because this technically now does not ignore... Well, it ignores iframes, just not the dash, I guess. So yeah, it still does damage me. That's probably just because the dash doesn't... give the proper abilities, right? So, evasion, own. Status invincible. And combat dash. That's probably the issue. If I had to guess. I mean, I can dash through those, no problem. Now let me dash through these. Okay, that didn't damage me. That's good. Curse me again, please. It's not quite a curse. It does make me run away. So if I just go fucking bananas, it still doesn't hit me. Why doesn't it hit me when I just go fucking bananas on this dude? Wait, what? Oh, we have to play a knockback? You just have to normal play a knockback. Hold on, this is the curse. I just close a couple of things that we're not working with anymore, because I think having so many tabs open is starting to confuse me a little bit. So just starting from the beginning. While we're at it, actually, let's just save everything as well. We have damage to player, ignore iframes. Oh. No, but not must not have combat dash. That makes sense. Right, that makes sense. And then for knockback player, ignore iframes. We also have combat dash blocks this. It cancels ability with tag and already knockback. It activation own set status that's stunned. So what's going wrong here? Because we try to activate ability by class and knockback ability, and then we apply gameplay effect to targets. Huh. Let's give it another shot. See how it goes. Curse me, please. It's not a curse. Also does not damage me. Why doesn't it? Does it not damage me? Why is it so inconsistent in damaging me? Curse me. Why does that not damage me? Oh, that damages me. Actually, it doesn't. Oh. Oh. I think we called it like bolt attack or something like that. No. These work the way they should. Okay. Bolt attack. Spawn lightning. When we spawn a lightning, I guess we provide this with a reference to self for owner and instigator, just to be sure. And then when we spawn a lightning bolt, it was damaging me before though, which is the weird stuff. But it takes the instigator and sets that. Like spawn next is spawn delay. In object is this. Oh, it shouldn't be this, should it? The in object should be get in instigator. Wait, what? What's the issue? Maybe get owner? Why is this fucked up? Oh, no, this is the timer. Hold on. I'm just an idiot. Spawn will spawn this thing in. Spawn parameters. Instigator is the instigator from this, so that links through. That spawns that in with those spawn params, so that no, that actually adds up. I guess it just sometimes didn't get the instigator properly initially. Like, how does it spawn the initial one, like the very first one, right? Because that is spawn lightning. Yeah, it does this. So I guess it just wasn't getting the instigator properly sometimes. But like in an inconsistent way, which is what's weird. Why would it be different one time from the other? What could be causing that inconsistency? Well, I don't know. Let's see if I can do either one. That works perfectly fine for me. Yeah, that should have been damaging to me. Because, well, that not being damaging makes a certain amount of sense because I was just at the end of my dash. Oh, hit me. Why don't you hit me? I immediately followed up with that. That's fine, but like, nothing you do hits me anymore. What the fuck is wrong with you? Is it something with the projectile function? This thing surely has overlap events on, right? Okay, just needed to check. What is the warp X scale? Is it because it's rotate? That's weird. It works though. Damage enemy bullet is what it sends through to the instigator, but the instigator is getting linked through, right? So let's just, if valid, print string, fucking get the display name of the instigator there. That will both check whether or not it's even registering an overlap event, which it should, and if it is the proper actor that is instigating. Because that might be the issue, that it's just not. That's not the one I wanted. Okay, so it does actually deal damage while I'm attacking. It just doesn't interrupt my ability with a knockback ability, which is interesting to note. Okay, so it does get the instigator right. So this does happen, and it does have the right instigator. Send gameplay event to actor. Yeah. Damage enemy bullets. Wait a second. Is it... Are they still damaging me and just not knocking me back as well? Is it something about the knockback that just straight up doesn't work? That might be it. No, these are just straight up not damaging me. Why not? It's waiting for damage enemy bullets. Right? So it's ticking. So maybe this ticking task just doesn't properly run. No, because the ticking does this, not that. So that should just... Is it the fact that this is only allowed to trigger once? Once it's triggered, it doesn't do any of this anymore. But then also waits for the end ability tag. So when does it get the end ability tag? Or what is it? Shaman Bolt. And ability tag is ability.end. In the lightning bolts. Wait, where does it... When does it end that ability? It might not be. I don't think it is. Amount to spawn is greater than 0. Destroy self, you destroy. Am I not ending that ability? I think we might have an issue with that. Get amount. Yeah, that's not a U property yet. I feel like we need to do that. Okay, so let's do one thing at a time and look at the Shaman Curse. So it seems like it does deal damage. It just doesn't knock the player back. So it cancels abilities with the tag attack and knockback. So it should do that. Oh, but it doesn't have that ability, you idiot. This is one of the things that always fucking messes with me. Is making like a new reactive ability like this and then not having it in my like abilities like default. Do I not have an array for this? I thought I did. Well, definitely should make one of those. But for now, I guess we'll just like give this ability. And knock back, ignore iframes. Oh, and hook that up to the ability components. So that should fix that. It still doesn't fix the fact that the lightning bolts aren't dealing damage. That is still weird, right? Okay, these two are going to be 1, 2, 3, and there we go. Okay, lightning bolts. Fucking why? Anyway, just spamming attacks is still enough to... why? I feel like I'm not properly resetting some stuff on the end of knockback until I like do something else. And that's what's fucking with me. Okay, let's just... Yeah, that's weird, right? That... Why is that? Because it's not even applying damage. So that's actually the wrong pin. That implies that this doesn't run at all. Specifically with the bolt attack. Which I just don't see happening. I mean, I guess we'll learn in a moment whether or not it does. Okay, you literally knocked me out of my test. Why did that not work? Is it because I was moving? Don't tell me it's because I was moving. It just doesn't generate that. Why does it not generate that? Okay, now that I've done one attack, it's just not dealing damage. It's just not dealing damage. Why is it not dealing damage? Okay, you guys hit me just for me to test. Is it because I'm cancelling out of another ability before it can like land me with the knockback or anything like that? Nope. I am getting some messages here though that are giving me errors, which I guess are in my apply gameplay effect to target, call will with a gameplay effect class null. Opening room, persistent level, ability system component. Yeah, basic Reaper. Okay, so that's fair enough. Well, actually, it's not. Why is that suddenly different? I think they're called basic. No. Enemies, characters, ground. Basic Reaper. For some reason, they don't have a damage gameplay event anymore. Well, that's not too difficult to set up. Enemy player to damage, whatever. Hold on. It's this one. I don't know why play basic attack animation for these guys suddenly has no default value anymore. Play montage and wait for and deal damage. That's in the... Okay, so this should be in the Class defaults. Yes. Damage. No idea how that got wiped clean. Is it also wiped clean in everything else? If I go to basic demon. Does this have... Yeah, no, it still does have it. Don't have a fucking clue what's happening there. But that doesn't actually answer the question that I was working on, sadly. Because it's all basic Reaper, basic Reaper, basic Reaper. Yeah, that doesn't answer the issue that I had here. Huh. I guess at least that issue that I wasn't aware of is now fixed. That's good. They can damage me again. I want this fucker to be able to damage me as well. So please do. Why don't you damage me? You were damaging me a moment ago. You fuckhead. I'm just gonna murder you and your friend. Okay, hold on. Let's think this through logically instead of getting fucked up here. Because we have this basic projectile ability that waits for a tag on a gameplay event. And when that is received, we print a string, but we're not receiving that to begin with. So that is the issue. So if we go into the blueprint for lightning attack, what we send through is... And we know that the instigator that we're sending this to is correct. We know that the payload actor is also... Do we know that that's correct, actually? That's a fan-fucking-tastic question. I mean, it kind of has to be, but we should check. But that sends through a gameplay event with the tag damage enemy bullets. At that point, the only thing that I have to check is in Shaman Ball, we are damage gameplay tag for event is damage enemy bullet. So those match exactly. So that cannot possibly be the issue. But what else could be preventing that gameplay event from, like, waiting? Fuck you. Okay, it is properly registering the third-person character. So this wait for gameplay event thing is just not triggering properly. Let's just check for only exact match. Let's do that turned off. And print event for this one when we trigger the actual event. I guess it doesn't need to be the exact thing, but it is weird that would make a difference. What it must mean, what it actually must mean is that it's ending the gameplay ability pretty much instantly. Okay, that one is able to hit me. Still need to figure out if it can hit me mid-attack, but we'll figure that out later. I need to figure out whether or not these ones hit me. Okay, so... They hit me, but only once? That's what's going on here? Yeah, and those still don't hit me through an ability, I don't think. Anyway, we'll look into that later. Okay, they hit me, but only once per attack, which might be... Wait, did those just miss me? Yeah, so I think they only can hit me once, which is kind of fucked. And now those don't hit me at all. What the fuck? Well, those hit me now. That's fucking fantastic. But now the runes refuse to actually deal damage to me. Why would that be? I guess what could be happening is that those runes are colliding with me at a point where he's already instigating a next ability, at which point he won't be waiting for this ability anymore because his I think this is it, right? Like if we do this ability task, we wait for tag to end. Why would that be set to attack? That is insane. I'll wait for gameplay tag removed from actor, which would be attack, and then we end that execution. So I guess we need to like copy this and set this to activation owned as well, and maybe that'll... But it would be getting stuck in its behavior tree if that were the issue, so that probably is it. That's actually that's not what the thing that I wanted to do, like, at all. I just wanted to pop this out, not that one, this one, and just see what actually is going on in his brain while all this happens. So let's just actually we can play from here. Does F8 work on this as well? No, it does not. So he does his patrol, he does an ability. Yeah, so the ability seems to end pretty much instantly. This one does not. This ability is still active now. And doesn't change until that point. But then this ability ends the moment, which makes sense. But that means that there's no way for him to deal damage. So something is making this ability end instantly. This one, right? So we're waiting here for ability.end. But nowhere is it sending ability.end, is it? Like, what is sending that through? This sends through damage enemy bullets. I am so fucking confused right now. Logically, spawn next should be sending that in a else here. But it's not. But still something is instantly ending that ability. And that is what is fucking me up. It's probably something very straightforward that I'm just overlooking. Oh, this is definitely not the issue. There's nothing else going on anywhere in here, so like, this portion of it is working as well. The issue is that is any of this sent through ability.end maybe? No, set bursts, spawn runes, like spawn lightning does this. It's set burst to the player character. When we add the runes, but that's a different attack, so that doesn't fucking matter. Where is that tag coming from? This is not relevant to what we're doing. This is not relevant to what we're doing. This is not relevant to what we're doing. This might be. What is this class? Teleport attack, not relevant to what we're doing. Lightning attack might be. I don't see how it would be, but let's keep it around. This is wait for and deal damage in the play basic attack animation. Basic projectiles, just a child of gameplay ability, so those are not even related. Let's go. Demon basic attack was just for reference. Might as well keep this one around just in case. Unless end attack does something weird. Doesn't even seem like I have implementation for end attack. What? Yeah, no, I don't. So that doesn't even do anything. So might as well get the like rid of it, right? I don't even think start attack does anything anymore either. So might as well get rid of that as well. So the only thing that does anything here is bolt attack, which is this, which spawns the first lightning, which will go in circles. If it's not looking for any tags at all, it should not be able to end at all, if how I understand this is correct. So let's see how it deals with that, because it's got to get stuck in that ability now, right? because it's waiting for something that's never gonna happen. Okay, sure, I don't care. And it immediately... Oh! The issue might be... No, it doesn't abort anything. Is it because of the cooldown? Like, once it starts? But the cooldown should only... Tag to watch for end. Wait, what does that even... Oh. It watches for the attack? Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense. It watches for the attack tag to be removed for this to end. I gotta put in a print string just to make sure that that's actually what's happening. At this point, I just need to make sure that all the weird, maybe this is happening edge cases are isolated. Okay, that's not quite what I was looking for. Thank you for hitting me. Trying to do a cooldown. I wasn't looking. I was looking at the behavior tree. I guess let's keep running around a little bit longer and see what happens. Attack tag removed. It says that with every spawn. It seems to say that with every single spawn, which is very interesting. Hold on a moment. Okay, I'm going to check two things. The first one is the lightning attack. None of this seems to imply any of that, right? The second of which would be the basic projectile. What actually happens here? Does it... It also ends ability after... It also ends the ability after initially damaging this thing once. So once it comes into contact with one thing that has an ability system component, if that is not valid, it ends the ability. What the fuck? That's the issue. So remove this end ability from here. Because that means when it comes into contact with the fucking ground. And that works well for if it's just one projectile. But that should be something that the projectile takes care of. And not the ability itself, because this ability should be able to work with multiple projectiles like that as well. And then, yeah, so... This literally doesn't do anything. So when we cast to third-person character, then we... When that cast fails, we also don't want to end the ability. We set actor rotation and... That's true. We kill the actor, that makes sense. We end ability either way. I think the knockback ability itself also sets the active rotation, so we don't actually need to do that, I don't think. Can get rid of that. So at this point, yeah, I think we have kind of fixed it. So, except for one issue, what's going to be happening now is it is actually going to infinitely get stuck in this ability. If I understand my own code even halfway correctly, that's what it's going to be doing now. And that's a matter of giving the spawn next function like a callback that it can use. Okay, so that works, but it's now... Why is it not infinitely stuck in there? Oh, I guess when it hits me, it still does end, doesn't it? Which shouldn't. Or maybe it should, I don't know. But if that lightning attack entirely misses, it'll be forever stuck. So yeah, now it'll be forever stuck. Okay. Okay. Where even is this header file? Mouse includes. Don't need that there. Offline now. My internet just dropped. Am I still streaming? Am I still live? That's what I was watching before. Fact Fiend, fun channel. I am technically still live. Okay. Trail attack. That's what we were doing. F on and attack. Doesn't need any parameter or anything. I actually don't know how to set up like Unreal C++ U function with callback bin. I think it's just as easy as... Oh, instead of making it a void type, we make it of this type. Is that right? Maybe not. At that point, it should be blueprint assignable. I don't think that's quite how it works, man. It just makes it a, like, event. Everybody who is linking documentation to this is linking fucking dead pages, which doesn't help. Really, U function that takes in an in parameter. I figure this parameter will be visible on blueprint. I don't care. It's gotta be... a convenient way to do this, right? Callbacks as function arguments in blueprints in C++. That's kind of what I want, I think. Yeah, so for spawn next, have on end attack, callback. It doesn't like me doing that. Not supported by blueprints. Function. But that's a matter of marking this as a U delegate, right? And then blue print. Unreal U delegate blueprint type. U delegate specifiers. Declaring delegates. Delegate functions support the same specifiers as U functions, but use the U delegate macro instead of U function. For example, the following code ends blueprint. Okay, so U function, I guess that would be blueprint callable. Will that make you shut the fuck up now? Which one would it be? It kind of seems like that would be the right one. Unreal U delegate parameter U function. I'm going to just ask ChatGPT at this point. See if they have any idea. I am working in Unreal Engine and I need my spawn next function to have a callback in Blueprint as an extra execution bin, which will run when the delegate for it is called. This is my current header file, but I can't figure out how to set up what I need. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about this. To achieve what your spawn next function, you can use the F create an event that will be called once the blueprint finishes its logic. This event will be exposed to blueprint as an extra execution pin. So how will it do that? No, that's no. doing this doesn't actually create the broadcasted delegate as an extra execution window, just an event dispatcher to assign to, which honestly is fine. You're right, using a blueprint assignable delegate creates a dispatcher in blueprint, not an extra execution. To create an extra execution pin that behaves as described, you should use blueprint callable with meta expand enum as execs equal output to define custom enum for handling execution flow. A custom enum? You are actually insane. That's definitely not how that works, right? I fucking doubt it. Unreal C++ make function with callback bin. Make U function with callback bin, rather. I probably need to just look into this a little bit more. Having problem creating a C++ callback from actor component to actor. It might be because it's a dynamic multicast delegate. Maybe all we need is just declare. Let's copy over the type name. Like delegates, just delegate, right? Delegate without any params. Can we just do that? Dynamic delegate? That seems to have maybe fixed it. But no, that makes sense. Hold on, that makes sense. Because we need to get the callback here. Oh, and then we need to pass that through all the fucking way. Actually, no, we don't, because we can just move this if statement up here. That'll save me a lot of headache instead of passing it all the way the fuck through. So, because I don't even know why that was down here, to be honest with you. I mean, I know why that was down here now, because it's always going to attempt to spawn because this logic is in there for some reason, sure. But we can just call back the, what is it, execute? Supposed to be called back the broadcast, right? To just execute? Am I insane? I guess it's just execute. Let's give that a shot. Make sure that everything here is properly saved before I recompile. And then go to writer. Let's give this a shot. There's a really good chance that this is not going to actually do what I wanted to do. But if it does, yeah, no delegate parameter. I guess in the worst case scenario, we can just bind a delegate like that to it. And in the worst case scenario, we can just expose amounts of spawn and check that manually after we'd like to spawn next. But that then gets kind of fucky with these timers. Where does it even get the amount of, like, the amount to spawn set? Oh, it's amount to spawn here, so when it spawns. So that actually should be fine. The callback execute probably should just be in here. Oh, but that, Because with this, the last one is not going to be able to send through damage. So you probably do want to like set that timer up with sending through that parameter as well. It's, oh man, that's some fucking mess. It just has it in here instead of as an extra pin. Yeah, how can I create a blueprint with multiple exec output pins? You can do this. First declare a new U enum. It does use enums. Oh my goodness. Oh, and that makes it choose one of the branches. Which is fine because it either does nothing or it does. Okay, so that's kind of fine. I want to get this working, so let's try that out. So we don't do this. We don't do this. We don't even do this. To be honest, if I get this working, you can fucking count on the fact that there's going to be a tutorial on exactly this topic. So we have the UEnum blueprint type blah 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 up here. So it will be branch A and branch B. Then declare some blueprint exposed U function in your header file. Change the parameters to whatever you need. So that will be category stuff, and then meta is expand enum as execs equals branches. So that would be something like that. Why is everything gray now? Because I'm missing one of those. And then in your CPP file, okay, this is already unable to find property with name branches. So this doesn't work. Unable to find property with name branches. For blueprint and other functions, meta. Does it need to be this? Nah, it doesn't. Oh, hold on. It needs a... I'm an idiot. Just looking ahead a little bit. So we need a T enum as bytes. And I will use my enum reference called branches. Right, and now when we go back into this, let's pull next. And then I guess we just take this if statement again, which, you know what? Now that we're doing this anyway, we might as well set up like a like delegate situation here instead of just a simple timer. But for now, let's just see if this works first. If all that, then branches equals my enum branch B, else I guess the default value would just be, what the fuck, I guess the default value will just be branch A because just the default value is the first one. So I guess that would then execute that way, right? That's how that works. So let's give that a shot. That'll be a fun tutorial. What the fuck? um... Trail attack 51. Why do you... What? This is enum as a uint 8. Cannot convert argument 1 from my enum to the enum as bytes. I'm just gonna try again. It is derived from uint 8. The fuck are you on about, man? I'll just go back to ChatGPT. This is my header file. And I'm getting these errors. This stream is getting very long. And nobody's around anymore, I don't think. But I honestly don't really care. So what the fuck is the issue? Argument mismatch? Oh, yeah. It says that we should just make this accept a enum directly instead of as bytes. So let's try that. And see how it deals with that. Better. Which, if this is how it works, that's actually even more straightforward, so that's kind of nice. I guess maybe needing an ST enum as byte is outdated information. If this works, that is. Like, this post that I'm reading from is from April 2014. So, to be fair, a lot could have changed since then. Lightning, spawn next, branch A and branch B. So we print hello, like branch A. And then here we print branch B. And this will be the last test for today, and then I'm going to get the hell out of here. And note this down as a potential video to make in the future. Because this seems like good stuff to be able to do. So central hub. So it should say a bunch of branch A's, and then at the end it should say a branch B. When it does the lightning attack, that is. You first needed to, like, get him to do the lightning attack, which is easier said than done. Okay, at least that works. Now branch, it says branch B a bunch of times. And then branch A at the very end. Oh, that makes sense, actually, because I'm doing it the wrong way around. But that's quite easy to fix. That's literally just a matter of changing this around, right? So less than or equal to 0. We go through branch B, and then let's also give them proper names. Not last spawn. Last spawn. So I guess that effectively makes just a custom switching node with logic behind it as well. So that's actually quite nice to be able to do. Okay, I don't think we fixed the issue with the attacking stuff, but for now, we're going to call it there for today. I'm going to recompile just to have those changes saved. I will be back on Tuesday again with another stream. We're going to pretty much be doing the fuck you. We're pretty much going to be doing the exact same thing. So if that amount is less than or equal to is we'll do last spawn. We'll be doing again the exact same thing. We'll probably be doing a little bit more actual level design work and actually working on these levels, but sometimes we get sidetracked fixing up some of the code, like here where we're like, you know, these enemy behaviors are a little janky. Let's look into what makes them janky, and we'll end up like bug fixing and actually doing some like coding stuff, which is always fun to do. Like one of my favorite things to do, frankly. So I'm not mad that we fall back into doing code. Lightning attack, I guess. Yeah, so those are renamed now. That makes sense. Spawn next. Last spawn. Let's just check it out. And then we're slowly but surely getting somewhat closer to being able to start testing this build properly, which is going to be very exciting. Now, let's have you do what you do best, which is electrocuting me or just cursing me. You know what? Now that we have this anyway, we might as well... Actually, that works as well now. Fantastic. Spawn next, and then it says last spawn once, and fucking great. Okay, so... we can still dodge this, right? We can. Can still dodge these. Seems like we can. So yeah, on last spawn, he should get the like end ability like tag sent to him. That's the entire reason that we did all that. And ability. And now it does it on the last spawn instead of like after the last. I guess we can fuck it, we'll do it with this one. The last one just won't be able to damage us. Sure. This seems like a thing that we can do in a couple of different ways. Like we could set up another timer here as well and just like could be as easy as timer and delay, take an end delay, and I make a separate... Oh no, we can't actually do that because it's this specific function, that's a U function, so yeah, we need to make a delegate and then call back to it from here and then execute that there. I don't know how that would, if that would work. So let's just accept this for the way it is. Because this is frankly just good enough. Okay. That was an exciting little learning adventure that we went on together. I'm going to call it now because it's been 3.5 hours. So see you guys next week on Tuesday. Bye.